So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZWGames5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below. What's up YouTube, Wargames, bringing you a test stand video for the 6 Sam True King deck that I did for you guys the other day. So this was requested. Just to kind of show off exactly how the new, how Summon Sorceress affects the deck. Now ideally what you want to be doing is you want to use all the 6 Sams to make Summon Source, and then you want to have one True King on board and use Summon Sorceress effect to bring out VFD. So we're going to do, I'll start the test as a 2 going first, 2 going second, so our starting hand of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now usually what you'll find, believe it or not in this deck, is you'll either see one, the majority of the match you'll either see either all 6 Sams or you'll see all True Kings. Sorry guys, bit of a groggy throat as you can hear. So when you do get a mixture of both, it's very, very nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to activate the United straight away. And then we're going to activate the Mariamne. Now this is going to get probably your perfect playoff, because what you'll then do off your Mariamne is destroy the Barastos and the Thuma. Summon out the Mariamne, and then you want VFD, you're going first, so you want to chain block your opponent by doing VFD chaining 1 and Thuma chaining 2, because at the end of the day, if they stop Thuma with an Ash, it's not the end of the world, because you've got that VFD plate on board. Like, that is your one of your best first turn plays, because you VFD them, they don't do anything, your next turn then you build back up. So always make sure that Barastos is chain link 1 and Thuma is chain link 2. So, revolving the chain backwards, we special summon out, where are we, Kizaru off of Thuma, and then off of Barastos we summon out, usually you'd summon out the Fire King, but obviously we've got that in our hand, so you'll special summon out another Mariamne. You can then trigger Kizaru's effect. Now Kizaru can search anything apart from wind and earth, so it will search out probably water. Hatsume will be the best one. If you do play Gemba, that's a good one there, because then that allows you to trigger off the Fire King that you now have in hand. But you know, I wouldn't worry too much about the Fire King right now, because it's not that important. So we haven't used our normal summon. We do have 1 token on our United, and of course if we normal summon the Hatsume, that will give us a 2nd token. By doing so, what you ideally want to be doing is you do want to be getting another 2 6 Sams in the graveyard off of that play, in order to trigger Hatsume's effect. You do also want another tuner on board as well, because then that allows you to go into either a using Kizaru, you could go into a Nat Beast, or of course you can go into a Shien. So what we'll do is we'll normal summon the Hatsume. Given our United 2 tokens, we're going to use that to draw 2 new cards. Another United, another Dojo. So it's not the best, but not the worst, because then what you can do is you can play both of these, link these guys together, and go into, of course, your Isolde. There we go, Isolde guy there. Use Isolde's effect to send the equipped from deck. So that's one lucky thing we didn't get, is we didn't draw the equipped. That's what sucks. So there we go. We're going to send Living Fossil. Living Fossil's the equipped we play. I just find it a little bit better. And then use Noble Knight's effect. Now you can bring out a Thuma, or you can bring out a Shien Squire. It's entirely up to you. We're going to bring out the... Can we do the Squire? I'm trying to think if we can get away with the Squire. No, we'll go with the Thuma. That gives us 1 United, 1 Dojo. So the issue with these is Squire doesn't count as a 6 Sam, it counts as a Shien Squire, so you don't get the counters on either of these. So now we've got counters on each of those. You could use Dojo if you want. By using Dojo, you would then bring out a Warrior Monster and give you 2 off of United. Alternatively, you can use... I think we're going to use Dojo's effect regardless, but what you want to do is you can go into Summon Sorceress first, with of course Thuma and Isolde. You could search off of Isolde if you wanted to, like Kigeki, something like that. It's entirely up to you. Let's bring this all down a little bit so you can see it. Zoom out a little bit more for you guys. There we go. So then what you can do is you can use Isolde's effect, target the Mariamne, and summon out another No, yeah. So you'd summon out another True King, Barastos. Alternatively, you can pop the dojo, bring out a Fuma as well. So that's entirely up to you. You can Gumbler as well, so that is an option. So we're going to use Summon Sork's effect to go into Barastos. This is where you can Gumbler your opponent for 2, because you can dojo and bring out your third Fuma. Obviously you're not gaining as much from your Fumas because you're not popping them, but it still gives you enough to play around with. And then you can use United to draw 2. That then replenishes your hand. Obviously if you do want to focus on Gumbler, that's where you would mess around with the Divine Phoenix Blade, but that's entirely up to you. So we'd shuffle that, use United to draw another 2. Squire and Kazan, actually that's a really good top deck off the Kazan, because then what you can do is you can overlay these guys into your VFD. That shuts your opponent down for a turn. Then you can special summon the Kazan, link these guys, sync these guys together, and go into your legendary 6 Samurai Shien. Now if you wanted to, you could use Summon Sork, or you could have done this beforehand if you wanted to. You could have gone Summon Sork into the Mariamne and ripped 2 from your opponent's hand. So alternatively what you could have done is, with the Kazan and Fuma still on board, is you would link these guys together, go into your Gumbler once I find him, nope, he's not here. Anyway, let's say you go into your Gumbler, up there, then you would sync these guys together and go into your Shien. Trigger Gumbler's effect, you would ditch your Squire and your Agamazud, which aren't really that relevant to you right now, and then that would then make your opponent ditch 2, so they're going to be playing the game with currently 3 cards in hand if they haven't tried to Ash you or anything like that, and then you're going to be using VFD's effect to stop their effects during their turn, so they're now locked on 4 cards. If they try to activate a Regeki or a Dark Core or anything to clear your board, you activate Shien's effect to turn it off, and then they pass to you, draw. Instant Fusion obviously we can't use right now, but we could extend, not that you would really need to, because you'd go Agamazud, Gumbler, 3k there, 3k there, 25 there. They haven't been able to activate monster effects or anything. They can't attack with their monsters. If they do try and activate like Mirror Force, Magic Cinders, anything minimal like that, you can use Shien to turn that off, and you're pretty much punching in for game, if not game, a huge amount of damage. So you can see, like, Divine Phoenix Sword would have been kind of good to bring back, but the reason I prefer Living Fossil is because if you do draw it, you can kind of recoup what you would have got off of the Summon Sork, because whatever you send with it, whatever you would normally summon with it, you could bring back the Fuma, because 9 out of 10 you would have started with a Fuma in hand anyway. Right, now let's move on to our second test stand. That one took a little bit longer than usual, but what you can imagine is there's a lot of combo play with the True King 6-sound deck, because if you open up both the engines, both the engines are very, very heavy combo orientated, especially when you're popping a Fuma and moving plays further forward that way. Okay, so after another decent cut, on final test stand going first, we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Again, not the greatest kind of hand, because, you know, we've not really got a lot that can help us rotate the majority of this. You'd be gambling on activating United, normal summon your Hatsume, drawing off a United, and hoping that what that draw is something incredibly useful for you. Alternatively, because you do have the Monster Reborn, you could pop Agamazud with Diagram, search out Barastos, normal summon the Hatsume, use United to draw a card, and as long as that card's a monster, you could then pop Hatsume, pop the monster you draw, special summon out the Barastos, and then Monster Reborn the Agamazud. So that's kind of like that little play there. That ends you on a VFD, not like too great, but it is a kind of first turn stall. Let's say we did use United to draw, we'd go into Rhoda, so then that would be a Fuma, and then you move your plays further forward. So let's say you played that risk. Obviously, if we played that risk and failed, oh, hello. If we played that risk and failed, then you know, we would have had to reset the test hand just to, because then that probably would have been our game, or that round like stopped. You would have to come a little bit further. But then what we can now do is we can use the activate diagram, activate rotor to get you your Fuma. Now obviously you can extend your board more with the Fuma, but what we do want is we do want to have a VFD on board at minimum. But now we've got Fuma, we can extend even further. So we'd activate the diagram, pop the Agamazud. Now this one could be Borastos or Mariamne, it's entirely up to you on which one you choose. And then of course use Mariamne's effect to pop the Hatsume and the Fuma. Fuma's effect then triggers to bring out the Kizaru. Now obviously the disappointment about bringing out the Kizaru is I don't believe it can actually search anything because the Hatsume is engraved and it can't search Wind or Earth. Yeah, so that stumps our plays there. But no matter, because you can still extend. Now the Monster Reborn still gives you that extension that you need, it just means you lose a bit of hand advantage. So this could be, this doesn't have to be Kizaru, this could be like Kazan, Kageki, but it just needs to be a warrior, because then what you can do is you can Monster Reborn the Fuma, link those guys together and go into Isolde. Use Isolde's effect to send the equipped when you find it, and then you bring out either Fuma or of course Shien Squire. Shien Squire is more of a dead draw right now, so we'll get rid of Shien Squire. Then you link these guys up into Summon Sork. Make sure Summon Sork is this side, pointing to the Mariamne. Then you use Summon Sork's effect, target the Mariamne, bring out the Borastos, and then overlay into your VFD. Now this is kind of like the standard first turn play. You'll get this 9 times out of 10, and the best thing about this is because the VFD isn't in the extra monster zone. If you can avoid it, it can't be sub-dragoned away should your opponent try and tech that in. So it does give you a bit more protection than you kind of naturally want. And then you'd VFD, protect yourself for a turn. And then Summon Sork, you can use Summon Sork's effect again to bring out another True King from your deck as well. That you could then use Diagram's effect to pop that and push plays further forward that way, depending on whatever else you top deck as well, could give you alternative plays as well. So it got you your VFD, and then straight away that allows you to continue to extend a little bit more as well. And it wasn't from it was from like a less optimal kind of hand. We did have to gamble a little bit, but sometimes that's what you have to do. At the end of the day, in an actual game, with that hand like that, you would have to take the gamble rather than being like that extra draw in comparison to what could unlock your hand was worth it. So anyway, let's start going second. We'll show you what that additional card does. Obviously it increases your risk of opening up the equip spell, and it means your VFD plays aren't as optimal, but still getting the VFD means you can, if you can get into the VFD, you can start triggering off your opponent's stuff with its effect, or destroying your opponent's stuff with its effect. Anyway, so our first test hand going second will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all good apart from the Kizaru. So what we're going to do is we're going to activate the diagram. The Instant Fusion is a great little extender because the options we have in the deck are Earth for like Nat Beast plays, but then we also have Wind, so that your Mariamne will always be live if you open up these 2 cards. Well, and an additional. So we're going to play United. We don't really need to use Diagram right now because we've got everything we need right here. So we'll play the Instant Fusion. We'll go into the Dragoness. We use Mariamne's effect to pop the Borastos and the Dragoness. Bring Mariamne out. Borastos' effect goes off to bring out, probably get the fire one out. Now obviously the downside to this is, of course, we could have gambled with the United, like normal summon the Kizaru, use the United draw to see what we could get. That would be like a bit of an okay gamble. So, you know, it's up to you if you want to do that before or after you deck fin a little bit. It depends what you really want to draw, and the only thing that we can draw right now, because we've used our normal summon, is like a Monster Reborn or something to revive ourselves. Diagram, of course, can pop one of the True Kings. Obviously, if we pop this, we would then search out the spell and an additional monster. but then we're not going anywhere. If we pop this, we just add the Brastos back. But unless we have the ability to summon the Brastos, we're not really doing anything. So we do have to normal summon the Kizaru, gamble off the United, draw into Living Fossil. Living Fossil is actually okay, because now what we can do is you can play the Living Fossil to bring back the Dragoness. You could go into Isolde, but obviously because you don't play a second equip, Isolde's not really going to be doing you a lot. They're different levels, so you're just going to be linking up. Alternatively, you can go into the Enter Blafnir and banish a card your opponent controls. There you go, so you could overlay those two, go into that, banish a card your opponent controls, and push place further forward that way. Or link these guys up should you need to, go straight into like a Borrow Sword, Borrow Load, Saruja if you wanted to, so you could go into a Saruja to try and reset the board state. Or you just play it safe and you do attack, 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 and then go into VFD and kind of try and stun your opponent out. Now, again, that wasn't the most optimal kind of board push, but it still kind of shows you what you could do with a less relevant hand. And we didn't use Diagram that turn at all, so you could have, after you've done all that, popped the Dragoness, brought the True King's Return, and then you can bring back the Brastos during your opponent's turn as well, and that just allows you to have more board presence, especially if you've still got Diagram in play. You pop the Brastos, Brastos will bring out a Mariamne in the next turn, and then you can move place further forward that way, because you can then use VFD to start destroying your opponent's monsters with the effect, and then summoning out more. Basically, you just flood the board with level 9s as well. Anyway, right, let's shuffle that up, and then we'll go for our final test hand, going second being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okie dokie, again, not really too bad because we've got 2 diagrams, so the only thing that really hurts is if we get drolled. So we're going to go terraforming, and we're going to go into our diagram. While we're at it, we're going to use Smoke Signal. Now, Smoke Signal can go into, I would advise you to go for Kageki. Not Kageki, sorry. Is it Kageki? I think it is. Yeah, Kageki. Because then what you can do is you can normal summon your Kageki, use the effect of Kageki to special summon out your Kizaru. Kizaru's effect will go off to search out your Hatsume. You can then use Diagram's effect. Activate Diagram's effect to pop Fuma. That will then give you Mariamne. Fuma's effect will then trigger now you can bring out your second Kizaru if you want, but it's not going to be able to search anything. Alternatively, you can bring out your Kazan to save the Kizaru, so that once you get rid of the Kageki on board, you could use effects. What you could have done is you could have done Diagram, pop the Kageki, search out your Mariamne, which is probably what we should have done better actually. That would have been a lot more optimal, because then what you would have done is you would have gone Diagram, pop the Kageki, search the Mariamne. This would still be in deck. Play the second Diagram, pop the Fuma, search out the Brastos, there we go, this is better. Fuma's effect, summon out your second Kizaru. That Kizaru searches you out your Fuma. Then link these guys together and go into your, where are you? Isolde, there we go. So you go into Isolde, use Isolde's effect to dump the equipped Living Fossil, special summon out your Shien Squire. Use Mariamne's effect, popping Brastos and Fuma. So you go Mariamne there. Obviously, like I said, you'd wait Brastos chaining 1 and Fuma chaining 2. Brastos to bring out Agamazud. There we go. Fuma to summon out Kazan. And then this is really important before you make your VFD, is you want to go sync these guys together. Now you can go into Shien or you can go to Nat Beast. So it depends on if you're worried about your opponent's trap lineup. Now going second, I'll probably be more worried about my opponent's trap lineup than their spell lineup, depending on what they're playing. So I'd rather go with Shien. Obviously you could have gone Nat Beast if you wanted to, entirely up to you. Then what you want to do is you want to link these guys away. Well, actually, let's do it. If you make VFD there, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. Link these guys away because we've got the Monster Reborn. Otherwise, you'd Monster Reborn bring back the Warrior. So it's entirely up to you. Go into the Isolde over here, sorry. Because you got to make sure it points to the 1. Use the effect of Somersault to special out Brastos. Does it come in defense? Yeah. Brastos in defense. Overlay these guys as they are in defense. Now, of course, you can go into the Phantom Fortress. If you think you've got game, depending on what your opponent's got on board, the Phantom Fortress might be the better option because you detach and banish one. Really dependent. And then you can activate your Monster Reborn and bring back your Shien. Alternatively, if you wanted to, because it's engraved, you can bring back the Brastos and you can have VFD and Phantom Fortress and Somersault. It really depends on what you're fearing at the back row. Bring back the Shien, at least you've got turning on and off throughout the entire plays as well. And then you either use, like I said, VFD to shut your opponent's effects down, or you're just going to go detach, banish one, because you know you've got game, and you go 3k, 24, 29, 25, shutting off a spell or trap should your opponent try to use it. And alternatively, if they've got loads of back row and they're more back row heavy like Orc guys, you banish with Enter Blafnir, and that can cause them a lot of issues too. So that is it for the test hands. You know, it's a very, very interesting deck. I have a lot of fun playing this deck. I really, really enjoy the 6-Sam kind of deck, and I think Somersault's made it a lot better. I wanted to try and avoid the Rongo Bongo kind of thing, because I like the interaction that the True Kings have with the 6-Sams and the interaction that the True Kings can now have with Isolde. So basically the whole idea of this deck is that you use the 6-Sams to go into Somersault, and then Somersault allows you to consistently get out the VFD play. Anyway, I hope this helped. I hope this gives you a couple of ideas around the deck and how to play the deck and operate the deck. Of course, build it as your own. There's a couple of, like, I might consider taking out the Squire, because as good as Nat Beast is, it's very rare that I'm actually making it when I've got the option to make Shien, depending on what I feel my opponent's playing. Obviously in the meta, if I feel they're going to be heavy spell, like Sky Strikers and stuff like that, then Nat Beast will be the better choice. But for now, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and as always, guys, happy dueling.
What's up, YouTube? Dad here from Zephyr Wargames. Thanks for watching that video. If you liked it, please hit that big thumbs up button in the bottom corner as well. And don't forget to hit the big red subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything. Make sure you click that notification bell as well so you know every time one of our new videos goes up. Throughout the whole year of 2019, we're going to have more deck profiles, duels, and of course pack openings for you guys to watch and enjoy the entire year round. So stay tuned for more, and as always, guys, happy dueling.